dolls, I hope that you're doing so well today. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Molly, and on this channel during the months of September and October I have a series called Molli-Ween that's on my channel. Basically do a bunch of fall and Halloween related content. So today I'm going to come at you with some fall and Halloween kind of movies to watch this season. The past 2 years I've done my like horror movie or like scary movie recommendations, and if you want to watch those I'll link them up in the cards, but they're also on the Molli-Ween playlist on my channel if you just want to get some other recommendations. I will be doing some repeats in this list because I wanted to change it up and do movies that also feel like fall. If you're not really into scary stuff, you maybe like more rom-coms, but you still kind of want the ethereal vibe of the fall, then this is for you. If I missed any of your favorites, please comment those down below. I'm always looking for new movies to watch, and yeah, let's just get into it. I do have my pumpkin spice latte, so we are ready to buckle down and get into this list. Number one is Practical Magic. I think I've shared this one before, but Practical Magic is one of my top favorite comfort films for me. It's fall, it's the East Coast, and funny enough, I think they filmed it actually on the West Coast in like Oregon. I love Practical Magic. The aunts, the sisters, the magic is just so beautiful, and it's very, very ethereal and magical, of course. If you have never seen this movie, I 100% recommend. It's on a lot of streaming platforms for free right now, such as YouTube Movies, so definitely check it out. The second one is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love the show. I've rewatched it so many times. It's hard enough to count how many times I've watched it at this point, but I love the show, and I also love Angel, the TV show as well, and the character. But there was actually a movie done in '92 to start off Buffy's, basically her whole career as the Slayer, and it stars Christy Swanson as Buffy, which I think she plays her so perfect, and it's just, I love SMG too. How she played Buffy is amazing as well. And if you've ever wanted to see how Buffy was before she became the Slayer and like the beginning parts of her being a Slayer, this is a great movie to watch. It's a little corny, but it's so good, so definitely give it a try. The next one is Halloweentown. Of course, you cannot talk about Halloween and fall comfort films without bringing up Halloweentown. I think this is such a nostalgic film for so many of us that grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s. Calabar still terrifies me till this day. I've been wanting to do a video about ranking my favorite Disney Channel movies that are Halloween, so if you want to see that this year, definitely give this video a like. Halloweentown is so cozy. I love Debbie Reynolds, and I just think she's the perfect grandma. She gives off the most comfy vibes, and it's just such a great movie to sit down and watch. The next one is Cursed. So this is a little bit more spooky. This has been on Pluto TV, which is a channel you can get on your Roku, and this is one of my favorites I come back to every year. It has Christina Ricci, or Ricci, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, and Jessica Eisenberg. A bunch of other people are in it too. It's a little, I feel like not a lot of people know about it, or not a lot of people talk about it, but it's actually really interesting, and it's like a werewolf kind of film, which I feel like there aren't a lot of werewolf movies. I mean, Teen Wolf and stuff has come back, and then there's Teen Wolf from like the mid 2010s and stuff, and then the movies from the 80s, but I think it's cool to see werewolves done in a different light, and it's really interesting. Next on this list is Witches of Eastwick. I love this movie, and it stars the most iconic people ever: Jack Nicholson, Cher, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Susan Sarandon. It's so 80s, but I think, yeah, it's from the 80s. It has a great musical score, so if you're someone that likes to listen to music scores like I do, you can check out my playlist actually. It's called Afternoon Miss on Spotify if you want to get those like fall but also fun vibes from movies and kind of feel like you're living in your own movie. Witches of Eastwick is so good. I just think it's such a crazy story. It's a funny plot line, but it's also a little creepy, so it kind of gives you all of that. I love ParaNorman. I watched it for my first time ever last year. It is so sweet. I love Leica Studios. They do such a great job with all of their films. They've done another iconic one, Coraline, so if you like Coraline, then definitely check out ParaNorman. Monster House is one I also watched for the first time last year. This one I remember freaking out my friends when they went to go see it in the theaters. They actually had to leave early, and this was back in like what, 2005, and I didn't go with them, but I'm like, I would have sat through that. I love stuff like that. So if you like anything, like I said, Coraline, ParaNorman, Frankenweenie, any kind of like maybe even Nightmare Before Christmas kind of vibes, Monster House might be the one for you. You've Got Mail is one of the most iconic Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks films. I mean, obviously Sleepless in Seattle is great. Man, Nora Ephron, she knew what she was doing. Love Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks as a duo on the screen. I think that they just have so much chemistry, and as like friends, but also as obviously lovers too. If you love New York in the fall, then this movie's for you. Next up is When Harry Met Sally. Oh my gosh, I watched this for the first time a couple years ago and I revisit this one year after year. I love Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. It's definitely like an enemies to lovers trope, which I think is fun, and it's done a little bit differently. Obviously they're more like bickering friends, and then it becomes more into a relationship, and you see their chemistry like grow and grow and grow as the story goes along, and I just love their story. It's really sweet. The Lake House is one that I don't watch very often, but it gives me such like kind of Twilight vibes almost because of like the film like filter, I guess. It's a little sci-fi-ish because Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves are living in different timelines, but then their timelines meet, and so they're always leaving each other letters, and they're like love letters to get to know each other, and they live in the same house but in different timelines. So it's really cool, and I think it just gives off some kind of spooky vibes, but also very comfy fall vibes in winter too. Next up, I could not make this list without talking about the Twilight Saga. I was going to just say New Moon, but honestly, because New Moon's my favorite one out of all the films, but I think that the entire saga just has such a great like cozy vibe, and I think because it is in Forks, that's already just such a rainy, cozy town in general. I think that the whole series is a great one to watch. If you've never seen them, I definitely recommend. I also had to talk about the Harry Potter series. Every time the leaves start to change, I immediately think about boarding the Hogwarts Express and going to Hogwarts. I just love the books, I love the movies, and if you have not seen them, you definitely need to. They're so good. I see them at the thrift store a lot, so if you don't have them on a streaming service, definitely just thrift them for like, what, $1? Totally worth it, and they are so great. Cozy up with some hot cocoa, your favorite pumpkin spice drink of choice, and get ready to go to Hogwarts. This one is also kind of corny, kind of vintagey vibes, I guess. It's Once Bitten with Jim Carrey. Love this movie. I feel like because I watched it as a kid, this movie just is very nostalgic for me. So if you want to watch a vampire movie that maybe you've never seen before, but also gives totally 80s vibes because it is from the 80s, this one's for you. I own this on DVD and I watch it like every single year. It's also on a couple of streaming services, so definitely check those out, see which ones you have, and see if Once Bitten is on there. The music is great, the storyline is so funny, and I love Jim Carrey. He's so sweet. My second to last one on here is Twitches. I just love this film. I think because Tia and Tamara are very nostalgic of the 90s. They just are such sweet sisters. Of course, they have great chemistry because they're twins. They just deliver their lines really great, and I like that they were a little bit older when this film came out. It's not set in like high school. They are like 21 or 22 or something. I like that it's like a little bit more mature, and the whole storyline I feel like is one that you've never really seen before, which I think is great for Disney. And my last one is of course Hocus Pocus. I love this movie, and I know a lot of other people out there do too. This movie is great. It's so fall, it's so East Coast. Of course, the iconic witches played by Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, Sarah Jessica Parker. This is such a great movie. I love Banks. I have my own version of Thackeray Banks, my cat Drizzy. But this movie just reminds me of carving pumpkins and eating chili with my sisters and my mom and my dad. So this one's a great one, and I think a lot of people also have nostalgic feelings about this one as well. If you've seen the second one, let me know. I haven't yet, but if you liked it, definitely comment that down below. If you didn't like it, tell me why. And those are all the movies that I had to share with you today. If you have any, like I said earlier, that I missed, or ones that you feel like give you fall comfy vibes, please comment those down below, and I'll see you next time.